Hi, everybody. Most of you probably know me. I'm District Governor Terry Huffman, and I just wanted to share a couple words about the convention next week. You can still throw your name in the hat, and we would love to have you do that. Even if you just come for lunch or just come for dinner, you can make those decisions. We have great breakout sessions. And I also want to remind every club that 60 members in 60 days, the club that gets the most members during these 2 months is going to get a pizza party bought by me. So Napoleon says they want Clavon. So Homer said they were going to get they want Cascarelli. So you get pizza from wherever you want. So I really encourage you to participate. I really want to get those numbers in because the more feet we have out doing service, the better our communities are. So enjoy your training, and we got a good one here. So good to see you, Chuck. And then it goes into this type of thing, and this report that you're going to be doing. And this one here, this is just what we're going to end up with. This kind of brings them that way to be good. Is everybody ready to go? If you want to start, everybody's head down. And I warmed up today, finally did it. Geez, a pizza. So, okay. My name is Bryan. I'm with the Battle Creek Signal City Lions Club. I'm the treasurer over there. I've been the treasurer for 2 years over there. I've been in Lions 7 years. We actually moved down here from Saginaw area to Battle Creek about 3 years ago. And I'm also the zone chair of Battle Creek. I have 5 clubs over there, the Battle Creek Signal City. I've got Battle Creek Host, the Penfield Club, Bedford Club, and the Marshall Club. So those are all in my zone. I was zone chair right now, and I'm going to be one of Kelly's zone chairs again for next year. So we get to do for that. Okay. All right. So we'll go along, and hopefully technology is on our side, and everything will work here for us. Okay. Congratulations on being a treasurer. Some of you may have been a treasurer before. Some might be new. Some might have wanted to try it. Other ones might have got elected by not being at the election committee. So, all right. How many new treasurers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And everybody else has been a treasurer for a while?
I haven't. I'm just setting in on this one because I think it's good enough.
Because you're a treasurer wannabe. That's what. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Basically, we're going to go through, give you some information, kind of how the Lions Club and the treasury is set up, some things you need to do, some things you need to take care of as you go along, and that will expedite your efficiency of being the treasurer in your club. All right. These are some of the treasurer's responsibilities that you have, and there's several more. Okay. The first thing I would suggest is the officer training and MyLion. If you haven't hooked up an account with MyLion yet, that's something you should do. It's pretty easy to do. And then when you get into MyLion, you can go to search the officers and you search treasurer, and then we'll have an ebook training, it's called. Okay. And there is a lot of information in there. You can click through it right at home and go through there. Probably an hour or less, you can have that information in there, and at least, again, you'll have a good idea of what the treasurer needs to do. Some of that is incorporated in the presentation here tonight, but I encourage everybody to do that. But my ebook training and the officer training, and that's on my line. Okay. The other thing that our responsibility is going to do is you will be preparing an annual budget for your club and also set annual dues. A budget will need to be approved at the first board meeting, but we'll talk more about that. You are also the chairperson of the budget committee.
Your sound isn't coming through.
What's not coming through?
Your sound.
Okay. All right. Temporary technology hold up here.
You're not. So I don't know why you weren't coming through. I don't know. Tap, tap makes it sound optional. All right.
No, they opened the doors, they didn't unlock the doors. So
Do I wait for you or go? Yeah.
go for it.
Okay. Technology is always great. And now I don't have. We'll just go. You're also the chairperson of the budget committee. So when you have budget committee meetings or treasurer committee meetings, those should be possibly the current treasurer, the president, the vice president, and the new vice president and president will make up your budget committee, as well as some other members. So if there's things you need to discuss about that, you can have committee meetings. You will be receiving all the money, making the deposits, and making all the club payments for your club as well. So at the meetings, you're taking all the money in. You're taking all the money in, you're paying all the bills, you're paying the meal bills, and all that goes through the treasurer of the club. One of the biggest things you're going to need to do is to maintain a separate administrative and an activity account. Okay, and we will talk more about in detail about what those two funds are. Okay, and you'll be preparing financial reports. You'll be doing a treasurer report every month at the board meetings, or when you have your board meetings. You want to make sure to keep good financial records and file our tax forms. When those are due, you have a tax form that needs to be filed for your club. And then when you're ready to step away as treasurer, you want to make one final report and get the budget set for the new treasurer as they take over. So there's quite a few responsibilities out there as a treasurer, but they all go together. Okay. All right. Some of the first things to do now that you are the treasurer elect, actually, okay? You're going to want to change the name on the bank account. Usually there is someone from your club, which should be the treasurer, that signs the checks, okay, for your club, okay? You, as the new treasurer or somebody taking over, you're going to need to go to the bank and do the paperwork to make sure that your name is on the account so you can sign the checks as well. Some banks, they require the current treasurer to be there with you, okay? And it's really not a bad idea to have a couple signers on the checks also, okay? But you're gonna wanna go to the bank and make sure your name is on the account so that you can do all the transactions for your club. Find out any other duties that you might have. When I took over as treasurer, I found out, oh, you also get the mailbox and check the PO box downtown. So every week I go down and see if we got any money for that. You're also in charge of the games at your club meetings. So as you do the 50-50s and things like that, usually that's going to be a treasurer's responsibility as well. So make sure if there's any of those other little details that the treasurer does, you're aware of what needs to be done there. Make sure your secretary has entered you into LCI as the treasurer. Okay. Once the elections take place in the club, one of the secretary's job, they have to go into LCI, Lions Club International site, and they have to enter in the new officers, okay? And you need to make sure that they have you in there as a treasurer, okay? Because when all your international dues and all your information starts coming from international to the treasurer, you want to make sure it's coming to you and not somebody else, okay? At times, you'll find that mail goes to the former treasurer. And usually they're pretty good about forwarding that. They're getting that to you. But you want to make sure that you're listed into LCI as that treasurer and the secretary has the new members updated as well. Okay. Going to need to develop a way to keep your records and keep your accounting for your club. Okay. Most of the time, this is going to be done on some kind of a computer. Okay. This is something you want to tailor to something you're used to doing. Okay. If you're good in Excel, which is what where we keep our records there, the Excel seems to work for us. Okay. Other places use Quicken or QuickBooks. Different programs like that. If there's something you're familiar with that you've used before that you might be keeping your own home finance, okay, just swing it over and add in the accounts for Lions Club. Okay, because you want it easy enough, so you're going to do it. We had a little situation with our club from a while back. We had a treasurer who was a very techie guy when computers were kind of first started coming out, and he had all these accounts, and and it worked great for him. And then the next treasurer took over and couldn't hardly figure anything out. Okay, and it took a lot of transition there. So you want something that's easy, something that's going to work for you. Some people don't do computers, and so then you're going to want to have a good lecture book or accounting book. You can probably pick up Staples now, and again, because you're going to want to, you have to track that money where that money is coming in from your club. So you want to have a good ledger book to do that. And remember, it's not your money to spend. Okay, even though I want to support Cause with a Cause and write them a $2,000 check, okay, but if the board's only approved a $20 check, well, they get a $20 check, okay, and so it's for the board to decide is the club's money, and then the board, at your board meetings, the board of directors, they decide how they want to allocate that money, and what bills they want to pay, what they need to support, and those type of things, okay. Right. You want to maintain, very important about maintaining two types of accounts, whatever accounting system you're looking at. Okay, you're going to need an administrative fund. Okay, for the administrative fund, this is money that is used to run the club, and it comes from the club members. So this is one group where that money comes in on your administrative fund, comes from the members, and it's used for the members. Some ideas here, like the income, this is where when you send the dues and they pay your club dues to you, you're collecting money for the steak fry and they're paying for their meals. Okay, that goes to the administrative fund, all the tail twister fees, anything like that within the club, that's where that income comes in for the administrative fund. And then use that as your expenses to run the club. This is where your awards come out of. This is where your postage for all your mailing comes out of. Where your envelopes come out of, any training, if there's training or conferences that people are going to for the members, that's going to come out of the administrative. And also that's your international dues for Lions Club, that will be paid out of your administrative account as well. Okay. As you're doing your accounting and your bookwork, you want to maintain both an income and an expense statement for your administrative account. Okay, and as we jump ahead just a little bit, you're going to want to do the same thing on your activity account. Okay, so that you've got income and expenses for each of those two accounts. Right. One point is if you need money to fund an activity for using the activity, the administrative money that came from the members that can be moved if the board approves it to the activity fund. Okay. But there's a big difference as we'll get into here in just a minute, okay? Now the activity fund, this is the public money. This is money that comes from the community and is used back into the community. And this is where your white cane collections that comes up. This is where your pancake breakfast. This is where we had our spaghetti dinner. We had all these fundraisers. So we have a mint sale going on, okay, for that. Any of that money that comes from the public, okay, that's going to go into the activity fund. Okay, someone passed away and they wrote you a donation, because they were aligned. Okay, that's activity money because it's coming from the public. Okay, from the public is your activity money. Okay, and that money again has to be turned around and used for the public. So that is where your, if you're supporting Cause with a Cause, if you're doing leader dogs, if you're doing a scholarship fund for your high school, those type of things. If it's going, if it came from the community, that's the money that goes back into the community. Okay. The funds on here cannot be used for any of the club administrative purposes. Okay, so you can't use activity money to buy everybody new shirts. Okay, because that would be an administrative cost on there. Okay, and again, you want to maintain both an income and an expense for your activity. So you got 4 things you're going to have: your administrative fund, you're going to have income and expenses, and then you have your activity fund, and that has an income and expense. All right. One of the first things you're going to need to do is to prepare a budget for the next year. This is to develop a plan of what money your club is going to have coming in and what expenses that they're going to be paying out. And the idea is that you will have this budget created and get it approved by the board, and then that gives you a template on how you're going to spend your money for that year. Okay. This has to be done. The Lions fiscal year runs July 1st through July 30th. And so it's a fiscal year. So you want to have that prepared. So at the first meeting in July, okay, you want to have that budget ready so that you can present it to the board and they can approve it. And if by chance you happen to have a budget meeting earlier where you discuss the budget with them, then they have a inkling of what's coming. So then it's not just top down in July. Okay, so again, on the budget, you want to keep your administrative and activity funds separate. To find those dollars, you can if you're a former treasurer, or you can meet with the treasurer, the current treasurer there, and they should have some kind of record as well. And on each of these line items, like spaghetti dinner. Okay, how much did we make last year? Okay, are we going to make that again this year? Yeah. How much did it cost? What were our expenses on that? Because on your expenses, you can roughly put a number together on that as well. Okay. To reference this, this is a sample budget that I handed out, which is sample Lions Club. And this kind of gives you an idea. Again, this is just one idea in Lions Club. There's a lot of ways to do the same thing. So find something that's going to work for you. Okay. But this is just a sample of like the Lions Club budget that we'd be presenting here in July, where we have different line items for everything that we know we're going to do. And such as the membership dues, you got meeting meals coming in, initiation fees that are waived right now, but they might come back next year. So you're going to want a line item for that. And other administrative income. And down here in our expenses, then we've got the dues paid, the meals, and this is our awards, different things that we know we're going to spend money on. Okay? So as you put that together, you know, again, sometimes you're taking a shot in the dark at it, but other times you got a pretty good idea what you're going to spend. But you want to make sure that if you think you've got on this one is you've got $8,000 coming in, you want to make sure that you're spending not more than $8,000. And on the second sheet, it's very similar. It just talks about this is the activities fund. And because there's a lot more in activities than administrative, that's why these are a little longer here. But the theory is the same. We got white cane spaghetti dinner. We got our mint sales. We think we're going to make $500 on this year. Our garage sale will make $500. So all those projects that your club does, you want to have a line item one. So when that money comes in, you got a place to put it. Okay. And same thing down here with your expenses. Okay. However, in both of those, you want to have it like an other or a discretionary kind of a fudge factor in there. So if you happen to do a new project this year and you've got at least a line item on the budget that you can put that in. Okay. And fix that. Okay. So this is just a sample of the budget. That will help you out with an idea for that. Again, the budget needs to be balanced. It needs to be approved at the first meeting in July. and your expenses and amounts. This is just a guideline. So as you're going through the year and you find, uh-oh, we ran out of money in one of these line items, what do we do? At your board meeting, they can approve to adjust that. Okay, or they can do an out of budget expense if they like to do that, or they can approve to, okay, we say we're gonna only use $500, but really we need to go $1,000 on the postage because we're supplies, because we're going through ink cartridges like crazy. Okay, so the board can change that budget during the year if they need to do that. Okay. The monthly meeting for club finances. This is basically your treasurer report, and you should be given a treasurer report at the board meetings every month, or however you have them. Some have them every month, some have them twice a month, some have them every other month. So, okay, so at your board meetings, and that's when you're going to give the treasurer's report. And you also always want to be very factual with that. I mean, it's pretty black and white. Okay, if we didn't make money on our pancake breakfast we had, well, we report we didn't make money. Okay, there's no sense in telling them, well, we could have done better, and you know, if we sold a few more, we would have made $500. Okay, well, what you want to report is, well, we only made $200. Okay, so you want to be factual in your reporting. Again, you want to show a balance sheet as that compares. Report again on both your administrative and your activity accounts. Okay, this is what we've got in our administrative fund. You know, this is what we spend money on. This is the income that came in. And again, show the income and expenses with respect to your club budget. So if you look at the next handout that we were referencing, and turn past that front page there, you'll kind of see again, this is kind of a sample budget, sample treasurer's report for a month. And again, we're using the numbers that are in our budget. Okay, so in that first column, if you look at that administrative fund, and it shows we didn't have any activity, but we did have $50 come in for team. All right, so if we just follow that line right along, so year to date, we've got $200 worth of cans that have been turned in. And our budget, we were hoping to have 500. So we're actually $300 under budget for our cans. Okay, right. Then you know which handout this is?
Yeah, no, but
Um,
I'm okay.
Got it? Okay. Right. So, and then this just goes down. Here's some dues that were paid, and then it follows over. This is what we did for the month, because you're doing this monthly, and this is how we are year to date. So that gives you a good tracking on how things are going. And again, then how it compares to budget, and the last column is are we over or under budget for the year. And as you do that, it's kind of interesting how things go along. And the next page is the same style, just this is the activities. And again, you're probably going to have more transactions in your activities accounts than you are in administrative accounts. Okay, but again, it's just something. And again, however you want to format it for your club, for your use. But what did we spend this month, and what did we spend it on, and how are we compared to the budget? Go forward. So that way you have an idea, as well as reporting to the board, they have a good idea of where that money's coming from. Okay. So again, here's the treasurer at the board meeting, and he says, never mind the dramatic talks and just read the treasurer's report. So again, be factual with it, have some fun, but let everybody know what's happening with that. Okay. Right. Club tax reporting. Each of your club will need to file. Each of your club has a employee identification number. So you have a tax ID number for your club. If you're one of the new treasurers, you need to find out where that is. Okay, and keep a good record of it. Keep a hard copy of it. Keep it on file somewhere. Keep it in your phone. Okay, so you can find that ID number if you need it. A lot of times, if you're applying for grants or even donations, like from Meyer now and things like that, they want that a tax ID number for your club. Okay, so you use that fairly frequently. And each club then must fill out an IRS, it's a Form 990N each year based on the amount of money the club has. And if the fund's annual gross receipts are less than $50,000, which is probably most clubs, okay, you can simplify the 990 easy form, okay? And it's only a few questions. It's not hard to do this. It's more to take the time to go in and come through the IRS hoops. Okay, and if you just search for the 990 form or on the IRS site, you can go to 990 form and that will bring it up. But you want to make sure you have that employee identification number, because that's what's going to target your club. And if it's been done in the past, which hopefully it has, it will actually bring it up for you. And I think I had to go in there and change like the contact information that was there. You might put your name in there versus former treasurer, and update it just a little bit, but some of that information is already in. Okay. If you're a big club that does a lot of big fundraisers and there's a lot of money changing hands, which some clubs are, then you need a longer form. But again, it's pretty easy to do since we're not a business, don't have any employees to deal with. So you can go that way as well. Okay. The deadline for filing these is November 15th, which is also open day of deer season. Okay, so that's a good reminder, but you don't want to wait till then to do it. Okay, look at all the problems they're having right now with all the tax filing that, they're years behind and, nobody can get and that type of thing. So I would suggest doing that earlier in the fall. So for your tax, when you file your taxes, schedule September, October, something like that, to make sure that happens. Okay. The dues payment, these are the dues that international, and the district, and the state collects for all its members. The district dues letters, they will be sent to you as the treasurer. Okay, so again, that's why you want to make sure your treasurer information, your address and your name, and the address you want to use is all in LCI, so that then you're going to get these dues statements from international. Okay, when they come, they're going to have an amount that you owe, plus there's also going to be in there a list of your members. Okay, and you want to check those, check that membership roster, because often you will find members on there that are no longer in your club for one reason or another. They might have passed away, they might have moved away, or you might have new members that came in 3 months ago that aren't listed there. So you want to make sure that that listing is going to be correct. If you find any issues with that, that's where you need to get with your secretary, because they need to update those changes. The secretary is the only one that can make those changes in your club, but have them do that. So when those dues come around again, then those members will be updated. Question?
How do the treasurers receive that information? Do they have to go to LCI to get it, or do they get an email?
It will be mailed.
Or the
Post, U.S. Postal Service. It will come as an envelope directed to you from Lions Club International. You get yours email. Mine comes postal. So there might be a couple different ways that you can do that. Okay. So, all right.
So if you find people that are gone or people that are missing, can you adjust the invoice to pay the correct amount?
You can't, because you need to pay the bill that comes. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. You need to pay that bill. However, if the secretary corrects them, depending on when LCI puts them in, you may get a credit back on those. Okay. But again, that's why the secretary, it's important that they keep up on the membership roll as well. But what I found, you still need to pay the bill for everybody that's listed when that bill comes in July, and get with the secretary, take all the people off that aren't there anymore. So now when it comes in January, then it'll be correct. You won't have that issue. Okay.
Why is it that you add someone, let's say, mid-year during the fiscal time year? Why do they send you a bill maybe for $10, $12? Why don't they just wait and send it when they do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we just had some of that as well.
but
When
they
you bring a member in kind of mid-year, okay, they prorate all those dues. So they look at what it is for a year, and then when they came in, and then that's what they charge.
It's usually such a small amount. I mean, how do you get them just to carry it over? They do it anyway, and
Yeah.
we don't pay it.
Yeah.
So.
That's the way it is.
On the number one, I get that, when I was in the middle, this LCI, I get,
Okay.
I
Okay.
got a seven.
Yeah. I don't know if the district, our club is getting everything mailed. So it's probably, again, something you can sign up with through the district, and some may have it, some don't. Okay, I'm not sure the district has email list or how they're doing it. And again, that stuff is, technology changes as it goes through. But again, but if you get the list, you're gonna have to pay the bill. If they're joining mid-year, then you're gonna get those increment bills. I just got a bill here for 2 Lions we brought in March. Okay, and just like you said, it's for, $2 for each of them because they prorate all those dollars. Okay. You're also going to want to send out the dues notices to your club, your members. That's usually a treasurer's responsibility, or at least to put the letter together. Maybe your secretary sends it out, but the newsletters need to get out to the members so that they know how much that they owe for the year. Again, most of those go out in July because it runs a fiscal year. Most Lions will pay the whole amount, whatever the year is. Some clubs have it where you can pay it twice a year, biannually, or even quarterly. That's kind of up to your club how you want it. But you're going to want to bill in the whole amount. Okay. The electronic transfer, that's something new that's coming up. Does any club deal with that? Credit cards, the Square, on your phone, that type of thing. Some of the Grand Rapids, there were a couple Grand Rapids clubs that were using that for members to pay their dues with. And when I checked into it, especially like the phone Square, it's going to charge you like 3 to 5% for every transaction that you do. So it's convenient, but you're losing money. And again, that's why you see these businesses, okay, we got cash price, and then if it's retained by credit card, then it's $2 more.
I had members.
Mhm. Yeah. So if you're comfortable with electronic transfers and things like that, you can go ahead and try that. I'm the old writing a check so I can make a copy of it. And have it. Okay. This is how your dues allocations are kind of broken down. The international dues and all these are annual amounts. Then we have the international is $43 a year. The Michigan dues are $14.50. The District 11B1 dues are $6 a year per member. They put in a district convention for $2, so everybody's paying for the convention, which is why we encourage everybody to go because you're already paying for it. Here in a couple weeks when they're back in Jackson. Then the international conventions is down. So it adds up to the $56.50 per year is what each member is costing you, okay, to be a member, okay, or what you need to collect with them because that's what you're going to get billed for every member that you have. And then most clubs have a club dues, which is on top of that, okay, and that can vary. $20, $50, $70, $100, whatever your club has decided, whatever your club dues are. Okay, that can vary by club as well. Okay, so you're going to want to put that total amount when you send it out. I like to send this out when I do the letters to include this little breakdown so they know exactly where they're going. It's not going right here into our own club. This is why we have to send that money out. So I think that's good information to have. The registration, $35 registration fee for new members. Again, that is currently waived here through June, and they waived it pretty much all last year, and they waived it now through June, and we'll see what happens at that. Okay. Right. The club financial record audit. This is a good idea. It should be done sometime in the fall. Basically, should be somebody from outside your club. to keep the integrity with the program. Yeah, it could be a accountant, a CPA friend, somebody from the bank, could be another treasurer from another club that comes in. And basically, it's just to look over your finances, look over the books, and this audit would be for the previous year. So as you're setting it up, okay, you're not in the hot seat this year, it's the treasurer before you. That we need to make sure everything was acceptable and how you did his accounting work, kept everything going. So you find somebody you want to do the audit, set up a time, have them go through your books, and answer any questions that they might have. And then you'll get a report that we did an audit and everything was fine. You know, Bryan Cook came to our club, we met with Bryan Cook and he went over our numbers for last year, found everything in order, or they might have some suggestions on some things that you could do. And then you make that report, then you report that to the board meeting. Okay, and again, that needs to go in the board minutes so that they have a record that the club did that on. So in the minutes of that. And again, it's just good to keep the integrity with the position and within your club. Treasurer sometimes is a long-term elective office where you get in there. You seem to have secretaries for a long time. You seem to have treasurers for a long time. Okay, and really, those are the times when the audit is better. Okay, to make sure that what the treasurer's been doing for last year or the last 5 or 6 years is all good with the books and everything's getting recorded. Okay, I know when we've had them, the biggest concern that he has, and not the books are fine, but he says, how much cash are you dealing with? And it's like, we deal with a lot of cash, you know, and because you got cash at the meetings with 50-50, you got cash at your fundraisers, you got weight cane, everybody's just throwing it in the bucket. Okay, and there's a lot of cash that goes through your club. And obviously, it's easy for somebody to say, oh, here's my weight cane, you know, minus my share there, okay? But that's why everybody that's here and you want to keep the integrity with the position so that if we say we made $500, there's $500 that's, I can back that up with a $500 deposit that went into the bank on those days. And that's kind of what the auditor looks for. Okay, the money coming in and then where to go, and you know, he your deposit slips to make sure they're matching up with all the those types of things. So it's a good thing to do. Okay. As the other treasurer, hopefully this will be a better meeting for everybody, right? Thank you for the treasurer's report, Ms. Elkins. She's got money just flowing all over. Okay, so life is good. Okay. But remember, it's not Ms. Elkins' money, it's the club's money. Okay? LCIF grants. How many of you have dealt with grants before through the district? Does anybody? Kelly, there's been a couple that are there. You can apply through grants for money through the district, and you do it through your district governor and the district treasurer. If there's some funds that you're looking for or for a special project that your club wants to do or get involved with. Okay. That money, if it's approved, then it goes into a district, it goes into the district account. Okay, so now your club's doing the project and we spend all this money, okay, which you have to spend that first. Then you send the receipts up to the district and then they will send you back a check to cover the cost of whatever that project was. Okay, so it's like you pay for it, send the receipts in while you apply for the grant. Once it's approved, then it's go, okay, you hit the go button. Then you can go buy whatever you need to buy for that project and then send your receipts to the district treasurer. Then they will send that money back from that grant money that they have earmarked for your club. Key lesson learned, just a note here, was that the grant calendar begins when the money is approved, not necessarily when the money is deposited. And sometimes you'll have a grant where it has a time frame on it, okay, but used by June 1st, okay? Well, maybe the money, they approved it, but then the money you didn't get notified that you had the money until March, okay? So now you've only got a kind of a short window to use that money. So just kind of keep an eye on the dates out there. Most grants are going to go into and use from the activity fund. because they're probably for some public project that you're doing. And unless they're specifically marked for the training or the administrative purposes. The best example of this, our club, the district sent out a note here in March, said March was reading month, and they had $150 available for each of the clubs to do something for March's reading month. So our club contacted them, said, yes, we want to do that. So then we ordered a bunch of books from the Marshall Book Club, Marshall Bookstore, this downtown. And we had $150 that had been approved. So we went and bought $150 worth of books. And then we distributed those to the preschools and daycare centers over in Battle Creek. And then we sent our bills into the district. And then, lo and behold, your treasurer Bryan gets that check for $150. So the system can work. You just have to go through a few more hoops. Right. A couple other points here: raising money. Like if you're going to have a bingo night, Vegas night, 50/50 is kind of what you need to do. You need a raffling or a gaming license. Number one, if you're selling raffle tickets to the public. Okay, so if you're going to have a raffle and raffle off a car or a boat or something, okay, you need a gaming license to do that because you're going to sell those to the public. Or if your prize awarded is over $100 in a 24-hour period, okay, even for a closed game, you're going to need a gaming license. Right? However, on the other side, you don't need a gaming license if you're only selling to a closed group, like your own club, all right, or the Lions Club, or if the prize money is probably going to be less than $100, okay, in a 24-hour period. So that covers all your 50/50 on gaming. You might do at the meeting, so that's all covered where you don't need a license. If you do think the prize is going to go over $100 for something different you've got planned, then you will need to make sure you get a game. Right? And the bottom point there is always apply for the Michigan gaming license like 8 to 10 weeks before you're going to need to print the tickets or before you're going to have the event. Because if you're doing like a raffle, public raffle for a boat, something like that, that gaming license number has to be on the ticket. So that, all right, and you want to give, everything's taking longer these days. So you want to make sure plenty of advance that you're doing that gaming license. When I was up in Hemlock, we had there was a Sawdust Festival and we did bingo for the weekend. We always had to get that. And so that was always, first of the summer, we had to make sure we applied for our bingo license. So we can do that. Some of the clubs do the Vegas nights, where they get these big pots and things like that. They make a lot of money, but you want to make sure that you have your gaming license for that. But for day-to-day stuff in your club, you should be covered. It would be individual events because you have to apply to, like in our case, September 15th through the 17th, we're having Sawdust Days bingo, and that's when the event was. Or if you're having a Vegas night on when the drawing is, you have to supply that information when. So each event, you can't just get one to cover the year. Okay, we have our gaming license for the year, so here we go. Okay. I think there is a minimal cost on there. I think it's only like $50 or $75. It might be a little bit more there now, but yeah. So there is a slight cost for that gaming license, I think.
So if you're only doing a small raffle or something that's $50 or more, to spend $50 on ticket. No, that's weird.
Those are some of the things you have to weigh.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we need to increase that price so we can sell more tickets and make more money. And a lot of times you have to report back. I think like for the, I'm just referencing the bingo one we used to do was you had to report back, like she says, okay, what did we do, what we paid out. It's some of the details. So again, you want to keep good records any event that you're having. So there were clubs up in Freeland, up in Saginaw, out there. You know, they have Vegas nights, and you know, $40,000-$50,000, and I mean, huge money. They have a walleye festival in the spring up there, and with a beer tent and everything, and it's like huge money that they're making. Okay, but again, all that has to be, they have to apply, and they've done it for several years and got a lot of things together. But you know, obviously they need the license for that, and you better have some good records as that's coming in.
So
Mhm. Yeah, they're gonna have, I would think that they would be applying for a gaming license for their other 50/50 situation. A lot of you just sold the Michigan Lions Foundation raffle tickets that you were doing. Again, that's a Michigan Foundation, so that would, even though they sent the tickets to us to sell, that was to each of the clubs, that was their raffle, so they would be responsible for the license. Yeah, yeah. Or if you're doing an area raffle, if you're doing a Serial City raffle, but I'm gonna have all my district clubs help me sell tickets or things like that. It's would be our responsibility to make sure we have the license for that. It's probably gonna fall into the minimal cap. Yeah, yeah. So, and again, if it's a closed group you're selling to, okay, which we're selling to Lions, we aren't selling it to the public. Okay, so there's a couple ways that I think we can be good on that. Yeah, I think like this, if you're doing the closed membership like there, I think we're fine. But if it's going to the public, the price is gonna be over $100. Or, yeah, if it's going out to the public, then you can need to give it for that. Yeah.
So what if you just say, okay, we're gonna do 50 and you just give away your prizes and $100 increments? So, you know, you're giving away 50% of what you're taking in, but you just take it $100 and $100.
Yeah, it's still gonna be the total amount, so I think you would be on the safe side to get a good. Yeah, rather than trying to break it
I mean,
down. I'm the one who worked with the system rather than try to go around the system. Yeah, if you know you're gonna have $500 worth of prizes, that's your prizes for the raffle. You know, it's $500. Okay, even though they're $100 at a time, but I still get a game for that. But that's something we'll do. Quick calendar that's in there, just as you're starting to take over, you're going to take over as treasurer in July. Again, soon after that, you'll start getting the mailings, the email, or however they come for the first line of dues that are there. Your board meeting in July, you want to make sure your budget's ready so we can know what we're going to spend for the year. And that would also be your first treasurer's report. Another thing you want to do at that time is to have a current bank statement. Okay, and this is always a good thing too for the board to approve. And when the board approves this, you want to make sure that secretary has that in the, okay, and that's to say, okay, here's our PCF Bank or Huntington Bank now, okay, account, and they're showing we have $10,000 in our account. Okay, so here's that statement sheet, and then on my accounting sheet, between my activity and my administrative fund, I should have $10,000. So those should match, especially as you're starting out again. That you want to make sure this is the amount that we're starting with, and this is what the bank shows. This is what my books show. So here we go. So we're all set to go on there. August and September. Usually the parade of checks information comes down from the district governor. Seems every time they change district governors, they have a little different twist on what they want to send or what they'd like to support. But again, in your budget, you can have a pretty much guideline on there. So you want to start thinking about what that's going to be in October. Then at the fall conference, that's when you present the parade of checks. And that's where you have a whole bunch of checks that you write. And that kind of changes too every year on whether you send them to the district or whether you do them individually. But we'll do that as that comes along. It's fall, so what do we want to do? We want to make sure we do our 990 tax form and get that out of the way, right? Because on November 15th, that's due. In December, take again, have your secretary look through the roster on the members. Okay, make sure everybody's current, because then you're gonna get in January, you're gonna get the bill. And that will save you any issues you're gonna have there. February, March, and then the spring conference come up. A lot of times there's training, things like that. There might be costs that might be involved for the training. So make sure you've got a way that you're gonna cover the costs and what you're covering for your delegates that are going to the convention. Or are we not covering anything? Is everybody on their own? But you wanna make sure everybody knows, okay? You don't wanna send a delegate to the convention, have them come back, okay, here's my hotel bill, and here's my meal bill, and another $100 for mileage, because I was a delegate, and your other delegates don't know what's going on. Okay, or they didn't know I could do that, I didn't know, did we approve that? So, especially with some of these trainings and things, you wanna discuss upfront what's covered and what's not. Might be, nope, everybody's on their own, and that's fine, or we're gonna cover registration, if it was a cost for registration, we'll cover that, but not your meals. So there's some discussion that needs to be taking place for all these conventions on what you're gonna pay for and what you want. Okay, and then in June, again, June, take a look at your accounts again. You're gonna be thinking about a budget for the next year, either for yourself or the treasurer that's taking over for you. So the budget comes in at the year end as well. So some helpful hints, these are some of the things that have helped me out a little bit. You want to have that budget meeting we talked about in May or June with your committee, so you're planning that budget for the next year. Don't wait until July when you're starting, okay, well, let's think about a budget, what we're going to do, because that needs to be approved at that first board. Okay, so sometime in May or June, get together with your treasurer, maybe they had a budget from last year, get the numbers together, it takes a little time, but just work it out again, so you've got a balanced budget you can present to the board. Don't be afraid to present it to them early in June, or for sure to get their input. You know, is there something new we're gonna do? This year, we're gonna have to add in a chili cook-off. We're doing that in the fall, and that's new for us. So we're gonna have some line items in there on what we think we're gonna make from it. And, so add that in, or as it said, new president come in, they may have ideas on what they want to share or what their priorities are for the year, and you want to make sure that there's money to cover that in the budget. At the meetings, you know, have some envelopes designated for each of the games that you play, because you come to the meeting and, oh, here's some mint money, Brian, here's the bottle money that we had. Okay, and we do the, okay, here's the 50-50, and this is the happy bucks, and here's everything that's together, okay? And you go, great. You know? And so next day you got this whole pile of money that you say, where did this come from? So have some clips or some envelopes, so you can put that money right at that meeting. You can, I've got a 50-50 envelope, that's where that money goes. Happy bucks envelope, that's where that goes. So that helps you out. Have some small bills, because naturally, the first person to buy a 50-50 ticket is $20 bill. Okay, can I get change? So just kind of keep those, I just keep some of those in my wallet or something like that, so you can make change if you need to for that. The monthly tracking and income expenses, that's the other handout that you got. This is something we developed for our club to use, and it's very, very handy. It gives you a way to record all your stuff, all your checks that you're writing, and money that you're spending out, money that's coming in, and you can put it right in here. So then you've got a record of it, and then when you go to do your monthly statement, you can look right on here and make sure everything was added in there. Okay. Some people, you know, as the money come in, if they're using the computer or Excel, you might want to go in, put it in there, and put it right in. Okay. But this also gives you a good backup, and that way you can compare this to the money that was coming in as far as what's on your report. So pretty handy little item, and then you just have an income and expense for each of the month, and then you can present that right along as your money comes in. And then do the 990, as we talked about, doing that in the fall so we don't get behind on there. All right. On the back of the presentation, this slide is on there. This is my email. Again, I'm out of Valley Creek, Stereo City over there with my phone number. If you start running into any problems or have any questions, then be sure to call me or send me an email, and I'll try to help you out. Okay? Any other questions? A lot of information, but again, just refer back to the slides and things like that. You don't have to do the information I gave you was good examples that you might want to follow. Okay, you might have your own way of doing things. Each club chooses to do that, but wish everybody luck this year, keeping all their records straight.
Thank you very much.
And don't remember there's evaluation forms, so make sure to fill out the evaluation form correctly. If you like the presentation, my name is Bryan Tuck with a Y. If you didn't like the presentation, my name is Roger Fox.